Alright guys, I am back again with another deck profile from Cardfight Vanguard Dear Days on Nintendo Switch. This time we got version 1 of my Brandt Gate Welstra Blitz Industry deck. So of course version 1, everything through the first additional card pass through D-Booster Set 7. And this deck revolves around a special type of set orders called products, and using your unit skills in order to operate those products in order to gain various effects. So as always, we'll be going through the deck real fast, and then we'll show it off in one card fight. So starting first with the ride deck, we of course have our grade 0 starter, which is Blitz Mechanic Vorten. So when it's rolled upon, if you win second, draw a card. Standard D-Series starter. Next up for the grade 1, we have Blitz Programmer Strazer. So its auto ability says when this unit is rolled upon, search your deck or hand for up to one grade 1 product card. Put it into your order zone, and if you search your deck, shuffle your deck. If you put a card from your hand, draw a card. So pretty good ability, guaranteeing that you get a grade 1 product into your order zone on turn 2. Also guaranteeing a +1 either by letting you grab a card directly from your deck, or if you put one from your hand, letting you draw a card to replace it. So, very good ability overall. Next up, for the grade 2, we have Blitz Technology Researcher Uber. So, he has an activate ability that says once per turn, you can Soul Blast 1 to choose a product from your order zone and operate it. So all the product orders have a operate ability that triggers whenever that product is operated. So this skill lets you choose one of the products you have in play and use its operate ability, which most of the time is going to be the grade 1 product that was placed by Strazer's skill, though it can also be a grade 2 product that you just played from hand that turn. But then he also has his second auto ability that says when this unit is rolled upon, you can put a product from your order zone in the drop to search your deck or hand for up to one grade 2 product card, put it into your order zone, and if you search your deck, shuffle your deck. If you put a card from your hand, draw a card. So a very similar ability to Strazer's ability, letting you put one of your products from order zone to drop in order to replace it with a grade 2 product from your deck or hand. Now this one's not technically a plus since you were just replacing one product with another, but you do still get that draw if you play one from hand. So guaranteeing you get a grade 2 product into your order zone by the time you hit grade 3. So then lastly we have our grade 3, which is Blitz CEO Welstra. So he has 2 auto abilities, first of which says when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you choose a product from your order zone and operate it. And then he has a second auto ability that says when you operate a product, this unit gets power plus 5,000 until end of turn. So 2 very simple skills, but very effective, one of which of course triggering the other. Both of which are also cost free, which is nice since our products and our rearguards do end up using quite a bit of resources. But his first skill does let you operate a product during your battle phase. It is the only battle phase operator in this deck, which can potentially give you a 4th attack per turn since our grade 3 product can potentially allow that with its operate skill. So this skill can not only give you the benefits of whatever product you operate, but can also trigger his second ability to power up himself as well. Which of course that second ability also is not once per turn. So if you use some of our rearguards that allow you to operate during the main phase, then that power gain can stack, potentially bringing him up to 23k on his own, just from his own ability each turn. So a very simple Vanguard, but a very powerful one as well. So that is the ride deck. Moving on to the main deck. First off for the grade 3s, we of course have our 3 additional copies of Blitz CEO Welstra, double frame rare for our Persona rides, which are quite important to get in this deck. Next up, we have one copy of Blitz Top Sails on rig. So he has an activate ability that says if you have a Vanguard with Welstra in his card name, you can retire this unit to search your deck or drop for up to 1 Heavy Strike Cannon Fortress Fryshuts or Mobile Fortress of Obliteration Fryshuts maximum. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and if you searched your deck, shuffle your deck. So Fryshuts is the grade 2 product in this deck, and then Fryshuts maximum is the grade 3. So this card can retire itself in order for you to search out either one of them. I am just running 1 copy of this card in lieu of a 4th copy of Fryshuts maximum, since this card can also be a body on board if I need that. And if I would rather have Fryshuts maximum, then I can of course just use his skill to replace him with maximum in my hand. So this card isn't necessary to run, but I found it more versatile than just running maximum at 4. So that's why I chose to go with it at a 1 of. So then our last grade 3 is 3 copies of our first product set order, which is Mobile Fortress of Obliteration Fryshuts maximum. So this card has a continuous ability that says you cannot play this card. Which sounds bad, but all that's referring to is that you can't just normal play it from your hand, and we actually have 2 different ways to get this card into our order zone through other methods. So that is a restriction that does make this card more difficult to get into play, but we do have ways to get around that. And then once you do get it into your order zone, it does have its operate ability that says when this card is operated, you choose one of your opponent's rearguards, retire it, choose one of your opponent's vanguards, and it gets power minus 5,000 until end of turn. And then you can counterblast 1 and return a rearguard to your hand to call this card as a 23,000 power 1 crit normal unit to an open rearguard circle, and if you called a card, put that unit into the order zone at the end of turn. So definitely the most powerful product in the deck, letting you take out one of your opponent's rearguards, weaken their vanguard, and potentially call this card as a unit to your board, which if you do so during your battle phase with Welstra's attack will of course give you that 4th attack per turn. Very cool, very unique skill, definitely reminiscent of the trap monsters from Yu-Gi-Oh! But this is definitely one of the most vital cards in the deck. It is the only way to get a 4th attack in. It does require a little bit of setup to get it into play thanks to its continuous ability, but once you do so, it's definitely the most valuable product that you can have in play. So definitely an important card to have. So that's all the grade 3s. Moving on to the grade 2s. First off, we have 3 copies of Blitz Secretary Perfei. So she has an auto ability that says when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, you can counterblast 1 and put a grade 2 or greater set order from drop on the bottom of the deck and draw a card. So pretty simple draw ability. It does require you to have a grade 2 or greater set order in your drop, which the grade 2 product in this deck actually can put itself from order zone to drop as part of its skill. And then of course just any copies of Fryshuts or Fryshuts maximum that you draw into early game, you can discard those for your ride line or whatever, and then bounce them back to deck with her skill in order to get a draw. And then you can potentially pull them right back out of your deck into your order zone with some of the other skills in the deck. So just a useful card in maintaining your card advantage. And it is an on-place skill, but with Fryshuts maximum's cost requiring you to bounce a rearguard back to your hand, if you bounce this, you could potentially reuse her skill as well if you call her back the next turn. So very, very good card. So next up, we got 2 copies of Blitz Engineer Hofleo. So his auto ability says when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, if you did not operate a product this turn, you can counterblast 1 and soul blast 1 to choose a product from your order zone and operate it. And then he also has this continuous ability that says during your turn, if you operate a product this turn, this unit gets power plus 5,000. So he is a printed 8K base grade 2, but with that continuous skill he should be at a minimum of 13 all the time, since he should be operating a product every turn, including with potentially his first skill, which is one of the main phase operate skills, letting you gain the benefits of one of your product orders during the main phase. So if you choose FuRyu maximum, you still can get the power decrease and the retire, even without calling it, if you want to save the superior call for your battle phase to get the extra attack. The superior call is of course behind FuRyu maximum's cost, so you'll still be able to get the power decrease and the retire even without paying its cost if you operate it with FuRyu during your main phase. And that power decrease can potentially stack as well, so if you operate it with FuRyu during the main phase and then again with Welstra during the battle phase, you can actually potentially get your opponent's Vanguard's power down to 3,000. So very good cards, getting those extra operates per turn in order to both weaken your opponent's units and strengthen yours can definitely be very helpful. So next up we got 2 copies of Blitz Accounting Department Head FuRyu. So his auto ability says when you operate Mobile Fortress of Obliteration, FuRyu maximum, if you did not countercharge this turn, you can Soul Blast 1 and countercharge 1. So he is the countercharge engine for this deck. We do have quite a few counterblast skills, so having some kind of countercharge option is definitely very important. If you want, you could run Bubble Mine instead of FuRyu. Bubble Mine can of course be a countercharge and a soul charge, but it comes at the cost of being a -1, while this can be a ±0 and can keep himself out on your board while costing a soul in order to get a countercharge. But we don't really use soul for a ton in this deck outside of FuRyu, so Soul Blast isn't too tight as long as you get your Persona rides fairly consistently. So I did opt to use this as my countercharge engine, but if you prefer Bubble Mine, that's pretty much player preference. So next up we got 1 copy of Blitz Security Vakten. So his auto ability says when this unit's put on Guardian Circle, if you have a product in your order zone, this unit gets shield plus 5,000 until end of that battle. So just a simple 10k shield. Extra shield is always helpful, especially in Brandt Gate decks that have a lot of set orders that can potentially decrease your guarding ability if you have a bunch in your hand. But I am just mostly running this card for its artwork because it's a wolf wearing a trucker's hat, and that's just fucking cool. So lastly, for the grade 2s, we just have 2 copies of our next product set order, which is Heavy Strike Cannon Fortress FuRyu. So its operability says when this card is operated, you choose one of your opponent's front row rear guards and retire it. And if you did not retire a card, you choose one of your opponent's Vanguards and it gets power minus 5,000 until end of turn. So this is just a weaker version of FuRyu maximum skill, giving you either the retire or the power decrease, depending on what your opponent has in their front row at the moment. So it is a weaker version of that card, but it doesn't have the continuous ability restriction that FuRyu maximum does. So you can get this card into play a lot easier. This is also the one that you're going to be searching off of Uber skill when you ride over top of him. So you should always have this card by turn 3. So definitely more consistent, although with less power. And then it is also a stepping stone to get to FuRyu maximum thanks to its second auto ability that is active in Order Zone. That says when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard is placed by riding from a grade 3, you can put this card into your drop to search your deck or hand for up to 1 Mobile Fortress of Obliteration FuRyu maximum. Put it into your Order Zone, and if you searched your deck, shuffle your deck. If you put a card from your hand, draw a card. So this skill will trigger when you Persona ride, effectively, since you have to ride a grade 3 over top of a grade 3. So this is going to be a turn 4 skill at the soonest, but it is one of the methods in the deck to get FuRyu's maximum into play and be able to bypass its continuous ability, which we do have one other option in this deck to get maximum into play, which we'll be going over here in a second, that can potentially be a little faster than this one. But this one is one that you'll be guaranteed to have access to, since you can't search it off of Uber like I said. So as long as you can pull off your Persona ride, this is the most consistent way in order to get FuRyu's maximum into your order zone. So that is all of the grade 2s. Moving on to the grade 1s. First off, we have 4 copies of Blitz Mechanic Start. So he has an activate ability that says if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you can counterblast one and put a heavy strike cannon fortress FuRyu from order zone into drop and retire this unit. To choose up to one mobile fortress of obliteration FuRyu's maximum from your hand and put it into your order zone. So this is the one other method in the deck to get FuRyu's maximum into play. Now this card is a little cost heavy and a little piece reliant, since it can only add FuRyu's maximum from your hand to order zone, so you do have to draw into it. It can't search from the deck like some of the other order searching skills in this deck. So you have to have both start and maximum in your hand, as well as having a counterblast and retiring start himself. So this skill is another counterblast cost and a -1 overall, since you're losing both start and one of your products just to get a product from hand into order zone. But if you do go second, this is the only way in the deck to get FuRyu's maximum into play on turn 3. It won't work if you go first, because your opponent's Vanguard does have to be grade 3 or greater. But being able to speed up the deck like that and get your 4th attack one turn sooner, plus just having a more powerful product in play, is definitely very helpful. So this is an important card for the deck despite its drawbacks, because you absolutely want to get maximum into play as soon as possible. So still definitely worth running at a 4 of, even with its drawbacks. So next up, we got 3 copies of Blitz Mechanic Iskra. So her activate ability says if you did not operate a product this turn, you can counterblast one and rest this unit to choose a product from your order zone and operate it. So this is the one other main phase operator in the deck besides FuRyu. Now since both FuRyu and Iskra both require you to not have operated a product this turn, you won't be able to use both of them in the same turn. You do have to choose one or the other. But Iskra is a different option, letting you potentially save soul by resting this unit instead, which means you won't be able to boost that turn, but again, if you operate FuRyu's maximum, you'll be decreasing your opponent's Vanguard's power anyway, so that can help make up for one of your attacks not being boosted. So still a very good option in order to give you that second operate per turn, in addition to the one you get from Welstra. So next for the grade 1s, we do have our Sentinels, which is 3 copies of Planet Wall Dragon, just your standard Perviguard, as well as 1 copy of Elementaria Sanctitude, which you can play without paying the cost if your opponent's Vanguard has triple drive. So then lastly for the grade 1s, we just have 2 copies of our last product set order, which is Incandescent Flame Cannon Abazal. So its operability says when this card is operated, you choose one of your opponent's front row rear guards and retire it. And if you did not retire a card, you draw a card and choose a card from your hand and discard it. So this can either be a retire or a hand filter, depending on what your opponent has out. So it's not the most powerful card in the world, but it is the only grade 1 product we have to search out off of Strazer's skill. And the only time you'll really be operating this product is on turn 2 with Uber's skill. After that, once you ride over Uber, this is usually the one that you send to the drop in order to add FuRyu to your order zone and replace it. So, not the most powerful card in the world, but is useful in its one limited use in early game. So that is all the grade 1s. Moving on to the grade 0s, we do just have our trigger lineup, which is 7 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal, and 1 over. So starting first with the crit triggers, we have 4 copies of Patrol Robo Decker Cop. So crit with a skill, at the end of the battle boosted, you can put it into your soul to choose one of your units and give it power plus 2,000 until the end of turn. So just another option to get soul if you need more soul, which you shouldn't need soul too often with this deck, but it's just nice to have the extra option. Additionally, we have 3 copies of Aurora Battle Princess Laura Cielo. So vanilla crit. Next up, we have 4 copies of Ameliorate Connector, your draw with a skill. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets shield plus 5,000. So your 10k shield draw trigger, of course. And then for the heals, we have 4 copies of Aurora Battle Princess Treyus Green. So just your vanilla heal. As always, if you want to use any of the effect heals, you can. So then lastly for the over trigger, we have 1 copy of Star Dragon Deity of Infinitude, Eldo Breath. So his additional effect lets you double the power and critical of all of your front row units until end of turn. So definitely an extremely powerful skill, making your entire front row have a lot of power and a lot of pressure, with 2 crits on each one at a minimum. So very, very good card. So that is the deck. So we will go ahead and have our one fight with it. And let's see, we'll face Yui this time. And we'll be going first. Alright, so let's discard FuRyu to ride. And we'll just end our turn. And we'll let that one through. And she gets a heal trigger when she is wasted. Alright, so we went first, so we won't really get to take advantage of start skill anyway. So we'll drop him to ride Uber. And then Strazer's ability lets us put Abazal from our deck to order zone. So then we'll use Uber's activate ability to Soul Blast. And operate Abazal. I mean, she has no front row rear guard, so that lets us draw 1 and drop 1. So we'll drop one of these Haflios. And then we'll go ahead and call Perfay. Use her skill to counter blast and put FuRyu from drop to bottom of the deck. And then we get to draw 1. So then we'll go ahead and attack with the Vanguard first. And we pull a crit trigger. So crit to the Vanguard and power to Perfay. Oh, and she pulls her over trigger. Well, that's kind of shut down our offense. And she gets a crit that is wasted at this point. Well, that's definitely not going to hit, so we'll just end our turn. So then she puts her song order into the order zone. And we'll let that one through. And we'll let that one through as well. Oh, she gets a crit. So that's going to put us to 4. And Elmer will be able to hit us now. But we get a crit trigger. So I could give that to my Vanguard and then Elmer won't be able to hit, but I think I'm just going to give it to Perfect. And then we'll just guard that with our crit. Alright, so let's drop on rig. To ride Welstra. And then Uber's skill will let us send Abazal to the drop and put FuRyu from deck to order zone. So we will go ahead and call FuRyu from our hand. Use his ability to Counter Blast and Soul Blast. And we'll get to operate FuRyu, which will let us retire one of our front row rear guards. So we'll take out Elmer. And that also will power up Welstra by 5k. As well as FuRyu gaining 5k from his continuous skill. So then we'll go ahead and attack with the Vanguard first. And Welstra skill lets us operate FuRyu again to take out her other front row rear guard. And power up Welstra by another 5k. And we get a heal trigger, which we do get. So we heal 1 and give that power to Perfect. So now we will attack with FuRyu. And then attack with Perfect. And she guards. So now she'll sing Matter Red Runway, which will give our Vanguard an extra crit. But that is the only attack she'll get this turn. since we took out our front row. So I'm gonna go ahead and perfect guard this one because that's 2 crit. And she got another crit on top of that, so it's a good thing I guarded. Alright, so now we will Persona Ride. And that will trigger Shotcut's ability. To let us send it to the drop zone. And put Shotcut's maximum from deck to order zone. So then I think we will just go ahead and attack with FuRyu first. Angie guards. So then we'll attack with Welstra. And his skill will let us operate Shotcut's maximum. So get to retire her 1 rear guard, weaken her Vanguard by 5k, and then we will counter blast and bounce FuRyu back to our hand to superior call Shotcut's maximum as a 23k rear guard, go to 33 with a Persona Ride. And then Welstra skill gives himself another 5k. And we get a heal trigger, which we do get. So we heal 1. And we'll give that power to Perfect. She gets a crit trigger. So we will attack with Perfect. She lets that one through. And she gets a draw trigger on top of that. But we can still potentially hit her, so we'll attack with Shotcut's maximum. And she guards. So now maximum returns to our order zone. And she does get her Persona Ride. And she'll sing her song again to gain another crit. But she does not have any rear guards to call. So 6 flower fractal isn't going to help much. It will stop me from using sentinels though. So let's see, that's our only attack this turn, and it is 2 crits, but I'm only at 2 damage. So I think I'm actually going to let that through. And she gets a heal trigger when she does get. Alright, so let's Persona Ride once again. And then we will call FuRyu back from our hand. and use his skill to Counter Blast and Soul Blast. And we will operate Fry Shots Maximum, when she has no rear guards to retire, but we will decrease her power, and we don't want to call maximum right now, so we're not gonna pay that cost. But Welstra will gain another 5k. And I think we are good with that. So we will go ahead and attack with FuRyu first. So then we'll attack with Welstra and use his skill once again to operate Fry Shots Maximum, reducing her power by another 5k, bring her down to just 3k, and then letting us Counter Blast and bounce FuRyu in Superior Call. And then Welstra gains another 5k. And she perfect guards. And we got a draw trigger. So we'll give that power to Perfect. So then we'll attack with Fry Shots Maximum. Oh, and she perfect guards again. But she's only got 2 cards in her hand, so we'll attack with Perfect. Oh, and she had another perfect guard. Come on. Oh, she survived that turn with triple perfect guards. So now Maximum returns to our order zone. And our song order will let her draw and gain 5k. And she was able to build a bit of a board, and she still has a 6-flower Fractal in play, so she's actually going to get 5 attacks this turn. So let's see, we'll intercept that one, since we just need 5k to block it. And again, we just need 5k, so we'll guard with one of these pertains in our hand. So now she'll get to sing 6-flower Fractal, which will let her restand her rear guards and gain 20,000 power. And I am blocked from calling Sentinel, so I cannot perfect guard this. But I do not want to risk her getting a crit, so we'll guard with some triggers. Let's see. That'll be 2 to pass, so we'll go with that. And there's a draw trigger. But she's not going to risk it. Oh, and she got a heal too, so she should have risked it. But she does get that heal. And let's see, we'll guard that one with this draw. And we'll let that one through. And we get a draw trigger. And we drew a draw trigger. Oh, and then we drew her over. Alright, so now we will Persona Ride. Which is the last Persona Ride we had in the deck. So, let's see, we will call FuRyu and use his ability to Counter Blast and Soul Blast. So we can operate FuRyu's maximum, letting us retire one of her Eknoas and weaken her Vanguard. And we don't want to pay that cost right now. So Welstra again gains 5k. And let's see, we only have one face-up Counter Blast, so we're going to call Perfei, but not use her skill. So I think we are ready to go. So we will attack with FuRyu first. And she lets that one through. So then we'll attack with Welstra. And his skill lets us operate once again. So FuRyu's maximum will take out her other rear guard, weaken her Vanguard, and then Superior Call. And Welstra gains another 5k. And she guards for 2 to pass. And there's a heal, which we do get, so we'll heal 1. And I am not going to risk that. I'm just going to give that power to Perfei. She's only got 3 cards left in her hand, and I got 2 attacks. And yeah, I didn't get a trigger anyway. So then we will attack with FuRyu's maximum. And she's got to let it through. And we got her with that one, finally. She was about to deck out. She only had like 5 cards left in her deck. But there you go. That was my Welstra Blitz Industry deck. So I will be back soon with more deck profiles. I believe next up I'll be doing my Baphometes deck. So until then, I guess that's all for this video. So lots of luck to you and yours.